What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below. H-Town! Okay, anyway, this video is entitled Raising Consumers. I'm sorry, but I was outside yesterday, and a young man was walking by. I think it's spring break, and where I'm at. A young man was walking by, and he's on the phone talking, and I'm looking at him, saying what's up. And I'm looking at him walk down the street, and he has Gucci flip flops on. He's a teenager, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, he shouldn't be worried about Gucci flip flops, knockoff Gucci flip flops. If there's real, whatever. But I started thinking about this, that we are raising children to be a generation of consumers who just gonna buy everything at will, and we don't realize how bad that is. Come on, rock my body, baby. Yeah, okay. I'm consuming this music. But here's the thing. I remember being a kid and kids getting teased because they didn't have the best clothes. I remember being a kid and being teased because other people had a car when they was 16 and I didn't. I remember being a kid and being teased because they had the good name brand food and I didn't at times, right? I remember those things. And what I also remember is, the ideology that I'm going to go to college, even though I didn't like school, and I'm going to get a degree, but I'm a cheapskate, so I was like, look, I'm going to figure out a way to not be paying all this money back, which I did. I figured out a way. And I'm gonna make a decent living for myself. I'm gonna try to fulfill my dreams, and if not, I'll fall back on making a good living for myself. And I remember being in college and seeing the difference between the kids from well-to-do families who have been given things, and a lot of times what they had been given as far as monetarily was the comfort to focus on being a productive adult. That's what they were given. That's what the money was about. So what happened was, the high school thing repeated itself. I got better clothes than you. I got a better car than you. I live on campus. I live off campus. You live on campus. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing, right? I can go out to eat. You're a broke college student. And I didn't really think about it at the time because I used to call it a fashion show. I used to call college a fashion show. People buying luxury cars with their student loan refund check. It's like, what are you doing, So, things got worse and worse and worse. And when I saw the young kid walking down the street, it just reminded me, man, we're not being smart with our ideology of raising our children to be creators instead of consumers. Because even with education, we're raising a consumer class who think that if I go to school, I'm be guaranteed a job, which is an old school thing. Which I was on to hang out with Edward Anderson and BGS, and BGS said it, when there was a time where going to college took the smartest people, and there's also going to college and graduating was your ticket to actually getting a better lifestyle. But now, school is for pay. So school is a business. School is a profit-based business. So now when people go to college, they brag about getting their education, but you were raised to be a consumer, so you was raised to buy a piece of paper, which makes you a slave of debt. And so, big problem. So now what are we doing? And, it's a problem. Big problem. Because I have this belief that we're raising our children to try to find a good job so we can buy nice stuff, but we're not raising our children to produce anything to sell, to have a passive income, a pipeline of money coming through off of something that you created. I'm of the opinion that, the further back you go in the last 100 years, the more ingenuitive and creative we were as a people. We made more things going back than we're making today. And I think partially that's because we're raising consumers. Necessity is the mother of invention. But if you don't feel like you need for much, you won't invent much. And now, name brands have always been a coping mechanism for people who felt disenfranchised to say they're important because they can afford important brands. And it's so bad that, people don't realize they bring their childhood entitlements to their adult life. How many name brands do you need to afford? When the name brands that you purchase, lease, rent, or drowning in credit to maintain, you feel like they're giving you social status. But social status doesn't really pay you money. I know there are a lot of people who, feel Snapchat, Instagram, and things like this on social media as a revenue stream, but for most people, it's not. So now you're just out there just taking a plethora of pictures and going broke doing it, like investing in your lifestyle brand without having an idea to sell, to make a tangible product to sell, to create your lifestyle, So I'm like, we're raising consumers. Kids from an early age know, they're imprinted by brands. My generations, we was imprinted by brands. To the, would I take Frosted Flakes over Raisin Bran? Yeah, because when I was a kid, they're great, right? But Raisin Bran, that's my grandmama stuff. Soggy ass cereal, We were raised on McDonald's, right? I want a Big Mac, a BLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese and hamburger. Yeah, you see, that was an old commercial, right? Damn, my arm hurt. You got that type of thing going on. So now that we're raising these consumers, we're seeing them out in public, we're interacting with them. You important. How I know you important? Because I'm looking at your car. What? How you know I'm important? Because I'm looking at your clothes. What? People are pricing each other's wealth out by what they're wearing and driving and not how they're living. And, we actually bought into the ideology of fake it until you make it. And the problem is people are drowning in debt faking it. And wanting public validation and social validation, like, oh man, you killing it out there in the game, I see you. And then going home sick to your stomach because you don't know how you're going to make your next payment or next meal. You're depressed because you put up a front you can't afford to maintain. Here's what it is. But we're not equipping our children with these tools to say, look, don't do that, do this. Don't do that, do this. Because a lot of us are impulsive. We raise our children on impulses, and they're impulsive spenders and impulsive buyers, just like we are. And their cost of living isn't going down anytime soon, and we haven't seen a cost of living that the bulk of us can afford for a good minute. So we're setting these children up for failure because we're raising them to be buyers and not to be producers. We can't we're not teaching them how to be farmers or architects or like I said, watchmakers or how can I say this? Brick makers or cement layers, stuff like that, like stuff that we actually need. Everything needs a superior education when it really doesn't. But if you keep raising consumers, you're going to widen the wealth gap, because only the wealthy are smart enough to have a skill that they can sell, and the poor and in the middle class are only going to be able to afford to rent the lifestyle that they want to feel like they deserve for a few moments. So I think we got to watch this raising consumers thing. I'm out. Peace.